Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in, because in this video we're going to be doing a little bit of a chit chat about the Neo Geo MVS portable device. So this released by the Hyper Megatech, and this is also utilized the Evercade cartridges that we can play all kinds of cool games. So this thing comes preloaded with 14 Neo Geo arcade classics, and I can tell you that this particular version does have like a lot of cool titles. For example, having Blazing Star, Fatal Fury Special, even some Sen Goku III. So this is going to be absolutely a blast to the past, and I think it's going to be an absolutely very cool way to play. So this is a limited edition, so I'm guessing they will not be releasing any more of these, let's say, versions of this particular red edition. So I do wonder, like, is this actually number 4 I'm having? I don't know if they're like numbered or what kind of stuff. However, let's do a quick unboxing and see what's going on with this. How is the overall quality, and is this going to be a lot of fun, or is this going to be absolutely horrible? I'm always trying to open up these boxes carefully as possible, but you can see that I am just the guy who just rips and tears everything. I'm like the Hulk for unboxing. However, let's look at the quick start guide over here, powering on and everything else. So let's see, there is nothing much of a thing going on. That's kind of cool. That showcases all of the cartridges. And let's see, in here we're having the second generation and third, different kind of colors. And I do realize that I still need to buy a lot of them because I don't have a complete set at this moment. But let's see how this thing looks. Let's see if there's anything else, something in here. Yeah, the cable, that is what they hide in here. And this is an USB-C cable. Okay, so let's take a close look at the device itself. Okay, so the quality of the previous one, that's something I really loved. So this is the cover. That's kind of cool that they just put in a piece of plastic. So what I'm really curious about is like how this is going to be playing. So when it comes to the back buttons, this is okay. I must say that they're quite easily to touch, or at least the configuration we're used to is normally having like the Embernic and other devices that had like a different configuration, but it's not bad at all, particularly looking at the back buttons over here having this round shape. So if you're going to be putting your hands in there, it's going to be easy to press. So D-pad wise, this thing feels quite nice. It had be, you know what was cool? If they had like this micro switch joystick like with the Neo Geo CD control. That would be even cooler if they implement that. Select and start. And when it comes to the ABXY buttons, you can actually see that, yeah, the travel is nice. It has like a very satisfying touch. They have like flat buttons over here. Yeah, and when you're going to be looking at the way how this thing works, so I have over here the on-off switch. So, and headphone jack out, USB-C for charging, but there is no HDMI out. That would be another cool feature that would be fun thing to see in the future. You can just plug it into a television. Blaze Entertainment. Okay. Hyper Megatech. Something like that should be cool to be added. Oh, they got some really nice funky music. And there are a lot of different languages. Okay. Ah, the legal notice. And you're going to be selling your soul. Transmitting or communicating immaterial content, which, seriously, like, this is just crazy. I love the funk music. It would be even more cool to have like a music from Neo Geo itself, like a certain game, like Metal Slug. But beside that, yeah, I love the layout. It looks nice, clean, simple. Pressing the button in the middle, having Neo Geo, Evercade, settings, display. So we're only having the original ratio, pixel perfect, full screen. Shaders and scanlines can be implemented. Photosensitivity warning. Music. So this is the master. Can we actually adjust this with the button over here? Yep, we actually can. The music on this thing comes actually from the middle part over here, but that sounds quite good. Okay, languages, legal support, and the credits. It's kind of interesting that we're having an extra soundtrack implemented in the credits. But that's it, Evercade. If we're going to be implementing a cartridge now, we can just do that now. We're going to be testing that later on, of course. But let's start into the Neo Geo and let's see what's going on there. Alpha Mission 2, Blazing Star, Fate Fury Special, Kingdom of the Monsters 2. That is a game I don't really have a connection with. I played this on a lot of the Sega Genesis. Last Resort, Metal Slug X. I think there was actually Metal Slug 2, but then having like the updated version called the X version that had no slowdowns. Overtop, Saturn 2, Sen Goku 3, Shock Troopers, The Second Squad, Soccer Brawl, The Last Blade, Top Hunter. So it's a small collection, but a good collection. So let's start off with some fighting game and see how good the D-pad actually is. The D-pad itself does have like a very nice shape to it. And with the reason of this is a very nice band, but in combination with the travel, this is going to be really interesting. That's, by the way, I think one of the only games I most of the time play on my Sega AES. Such a cool, one of my favorite Fatal Fury games. But let's get into the game. This is such an interesting D-pad. You know why? Because when you're going to be feeling it, you wouldn't expect that it is going to be so responsive. Okay, next up we're having over here the menu where we have like the save load. Controls can be adjusted, display. So it's kind of cool if you can mix around with the pixel perfect and everything else. Oh yeah, indeed. And then of course we're having the full screen. So there are all kinds of different ways to actually play. So let's implement, let's say, some other stuff. So we're having subtle and strong scan lines. Yeah, that does look cool. Then next up we're having the display over here. We're having strong. Oof, indeed. I completely forgot how freaking brutal this game is. Or in other words, I just suck at it. That's a fact. But the point is that this is absolutely a very cool piece of technology where we can just enjoy the Neo Geo games and have all kinds of cool options. Options you don't see a lot with those cheap China devices, and maybe particularly like the cheap ones. Maybe the later ones with better software will have the options, and of course, quick load, quick show off. But besides that, yeah, it's kind of cool. So let's get ourselves like the intro of the Neo Geo. Oh. Oh. What's going on? Oh? Seriously? Did this device just freaking froze? Or did something wrong with the game? Okay, let's turn it back on and off. So let's give this thing another attempt. Okay, Blazing Star was the game I wanted to play. Let's load it up. Let's see if this thing boots up. Because that would be absolutely messed up if this game doesn't boot up. Okay, we're getting the green logo. I'm not touching anything. But nope, it doesn't do anything. I can actually boot up. That's kind of interesting that I can just boot up a game because the display doesn't do anything beside that. But oh boy. Okay, let's pause it. Let's exit. Okay, so this port, it's actually that this thing is completely messed up. So we can just actually get into the game. I can boot up, something's going on, but now somewhere the software is messed up. Let's see if something happens over here. I'm going to be, nope. But fun fact is, let's boot up another game. I press right, pressing A over here, and let's see what's going on. Let's see, it can actually boot up into a game now, or does this thing have a lossy? Okay, this one does boot up. Fatal Fury Special. Okay, so let's get exit. Wow. So the main menu is not actually working. Oh man. So I need to actually reboot it. So I think it's going to be interesting to just walk through a couple of games to see if we're having more problems. But Blade Star doesn't work. Oh man, that's really a bummer. That's one of the games I really love to play. But what is really interesting that I managed to get this problem sorted out or some kind. So I already noticed that in the display, I just had set everything back to original ratio and non-Scanlines. And then we're going to be having a problem with Blazing Star. It's not going to be booting up and the main menu is going to be messed up until I'm going to be rebooting it. Setting it to pixel perfect, that solves the problem. So now I can actually boot up. But still, it's not something that is forgivable, because this means that we need to be messing with the software to actually get this thing going on. But let's do a little bit of a shmup time to see how just this thing actually performs. But yeah, emulation performance, I don't see any weird thing going on over here. I can really enjoy myself with this. This fun. Phil mentioned before, it's like it would be cool to have like a micro switch joystick like the new GCD, but maybe that's me, or a combination of. But yeah, the D-pad plays well. The resistance is not too much. That's going to be annoying, especially if you're going to be playing like beat 'em ups and shmups. But playing some, let's say, fighting games, I was really surprised how good it actually works. And also the audio itself is absolutely amazing. Yeah, enjoying some Neo Geo in this, that would be a lot of fun. So we're having Last Resort, let's check that game out to see what's going on. Last Resort is another game that I did play a couple of times, so it's going to be a lot of fun to revisiting this. So visual-wise, I think the Neo Geo still looks absolutely stunning when it comes to that. I love there's actually a turbo function in this thing. That's going to be so much more convenient. It's more like an R-type styled game. That's what I find absolutely cool. You can just actually let this thing rotate, and you can also lock it to a certain position. Like with the R-type games, where you can actually just shoot the globe or the globe and do some really cool things with it. But beside that, yeah, this is absolutely working perfectly. Let's go to the display, original ratio. Let's go back. No problems. Okay, so let's load up the next game in the ratio, the normal ratio with the Metal Slug X. Again, we'll see if we're having any problems there, because that will be interesting. You can see that some of the games do have like a very long loading time. Okay, we are getting the green screen, and let's see if they're going to be moving on into the game. Yep. But let's get a little bit of the gameplay. Marco. But so far, so good. Mutant Nation, if I'm saying it correctly. Let's get into the next game. And the reason I wanted to now try in top of one to see do you have any problems with the screens itself, but no, there's no weird thing going on. I was just, I think, in a single game. So playing Street of Rage 2, and especially the remake, after playing that, for me, when it comes to playing some beat 'em up games, this looks great, but never got like this same level of Street of Rage 2 with the very cool move that you can actually do. these things feel kind of basic. You know what I mean? But that was kind of cool. That's why we're going to be moving into the Sen Goku number 3, because that is going to be so much more fun. If you want to collect Sen Goku on the original systems, that's going to be such a pricey thing. I love that you're going to be pressing select for entering a credit. But if you love beat 'em ups, Sen Goku is absolutely one of them that you should check out, because this is such a cool game. I always love to play him together with friends. Just a fun overall beat 'em up. The mechanics of this game are so much better than the previous one we just played. Having some extra weapons that you can pick up. Yeah, this is such a brutal game. Love it. Just the speed, the combo style. You can even combine it. But also now we played a couple of games, we didn't notice any weird thing going on. So let's get to the display, pixel perfect. Let's do a little bit of a Scanlines. Nothing there. Let's make a save over here. I love it, having like these screenshots. You can see we're having 6 slots over here. So the way everything works and how fast it works is just great. There's nothing much to actually complain there. Let's see where we can actually play more. Soccer Brawl, okay. So the overall collection of games is quite good. Top Hunter, That music, that is really funny. Okay, Top Hunter. Did I ever play this game? I think I did. A very long time ago. But let's see what's going on. Yeah, I did play this game a very long time ago, but not a lot. Not a lot. So visual-wise, this game looks really cool. I think that is going to be the power of these Evercade things, that we can actually, or as this is called the Hyper Mega Tech, but you know, you can actually just add new games this way. Shock Trooper, I think I played the first edition. That was a very nice like edition, but this.
Let's go.
Is absolutely a lot of fun. Another thing I wanted to check out is the cartridge itself. So what I love about these things, that we can actually just play a lot of cool building games like Shock Trooper, but we can remove it and we can just start collecting and playing more games. I don't have a full collection, but I do own a handful of games. The only thing I did notice with collecting for the Evercade, some games getting a little bit more rare because they're not going to be manufactured. I find kind of a little bit of a bummer. So in this way we cannot actually make a full collection and just not paying premium price. But let's play. Let's have some fun. Some cartridges will have only 2 games and some will have more of them. But what you need to do is slide this thing out. Plug in the game. Already shown you in the beginning of this video. Let's move to the Evercade. And now it will load up the cartridge itself. And we can play some Xeno Crisis like I did them a gazillion times. So what I just love about this is that we can actually play down these games. Because, yeah, it was a little bit of a bummer if you're going to be paying a certain amount of money for a device and you're only having a handful of games. And that is one of the things they absolutely did great. You can just play your games that you played some time ago and we can just actually enjoy those on your device. But you know what is kind of a funny story, so we can also do a save slot, but that's not a funny story. Let's remove the cartridge, because what happens then? We can just actually play, because it loads up the game into the system itself. So if you just want to have one game, and you just want to play on 2 systems, that's actually possible. But that's another thing, another story. So far, emulation, it's absolutely great. I must say that I'm very glad with having this Neo Geo version. I love the colors. And if you're going to be going out of this, yeah, there's no screen. Yeah, but that's my mistake. Don't do some crazy stuff, let's just get out of it and let's see what's going on. But let's try that again. I was just messing with it for some time. Okay, what happens if you're going to be turning this thing off? Okay, so this time we're going to be booting up the game. I'm going to be exiting and just doing some weird stuff by removing the cartridge whatsoever. Okay, so let's get to the Evercade. Let's get into Xenocrisis. So this time it's kind of interesting, so let's boot up into the game. And let's go exit. Okay, yeah, so that was more like something I did. I messed it up. But let's do a little bit of a teardown and let's see what is going on in the inside. So let's see if we can easily remove it. Let's remove the 4 screws at the side. Also remove the plastic. Is there no screw under there? Nope, there is not there. But I'm really curious what we can find on the inside and how big of the battery is. Sometimes it is actually be on here, but there's so far I can see no information. I'm also guessing is that when it comes to the removing, I think this is not going to be a very easy teardown, because you can actually see that this mold is different. Okay, so let's see. This is a very thin one. I think it's the thinnest one I have. So let's see if we can just open it up like that. Okay, so let's see if I can just do something with this. Oh, there we go. Just clicked open like that. Okay, let's be very gentle. So the first thing I wanted to check out on the inside is actually what is going on when it comes to, they say, everything when it comes to the buttons. You can see over here the micro switch buttons over here. So that is, yeah, you can replace them if you're going to be needing that. There's a little bit of a foam over here. To wonder why they actually that is going to be touching that over here, that piece of metal. Oh, we need to be very careful that we're going to be placing this button back, if we're going to be putting this thing back together. And yeah, and overall the construction is quite interesting. There's, if like says over here, super pocket. The battery can be replaced, so that is good. So if you have like any broken battery within, let's say, over some years that this thing is wore out, you can just replace it fairly easy. So this is just a typical, let's say, battery with the numbers on it. So I'm guessing you can actually maybe get yourself a new battery from them or just buy yourself one online. Yeah, so if you're going to be looking into the front part over here, it's kind of interesting. The PCB is mounted to this piece of plastic over here, and there's also between there, of course, the membranes and the buttons using these translucent ones. Normally they say that there's going to be bad quality, but I must say that the touch itself, it's great, man. They're using very nice quality membranes when it comes to the touch, but the colors doesn't say everything when it comes to that. And over here we're having the 2 micro switches for the volume control. The Neo Geo device or handheld from the Hyper Megatech. This is the MVS version, and it's going to be unfortunate because this thing is really limited. You're going to be going up in prices, and maybe if you're going to be seeing this video, this thing is not for sale anymore. They're also going to be having a black version, I do wonder if there are going to be different kind of, let's say, games on it, or just like the outer shell that's different. I really love the authentic Neo Geo MVS colors. It's a very cool collection that came with the device itself. There we have like the option to add different games. That's absolutely awesome. Nevertheless, let me know in the comments, what do you think of the Neo Geo? Do you think it's worth it? I think it's a really cool device. It's very comfortable, nice quality, good weight to it, nice D-pad, and I personally really enjoyed myself today for just playing. Let me know in the comments, and it will be great to see you in the next video.